Alright, so this is going to be a very straightforward video on how to install the fog light kit that you can find on eBay and other places into your Dodge Challenger. Now, this video is pretty much only for the 2011 models on up to the 2014. I have a 2014, so that's the car that I'm going to be working with today. Basically, all you need is your new switch, your two new fog lights, and it should come with 4 new screws, which are right there. You'll need a star type tip, either a bit or as I already have. So as you can see, I've got a star tip screwdriver. The 10mm wrench is for removing the battery terminal. So you want to do that before you even start. I've already done that. You know, it's just an extra safety precaution. You can never be too safe, so to speak. And the last bit you'll need are for removing the plastic trim connectors, and it's these nylon little pry bars here. They work great for this. I've probably had these for about 2 or 3 years now. You can score this whole set for under $10 at Harbor Freight. They've really come in handy quite a bit. I also have another one here on the side. Probably won't be using this one, but it's just another one just in case. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Now, in all honesty, it probably really doesn't matter where you start on yours. With me, I'm going to go ahead and start with the switch, as it's the easiest to get to and it's the most minimal amount of work I have to do for this whole thing. You should take care and note and use the new switch as a reference point. On the top, you have 2 clips right here. On the bottom, there's 1. So when you get your little pry bar in, you kind of want to get it in at an angle so where it's going to disengage this clip. This dash material is pretty easy to damage, apparently. And as you can see, with a little bit of poking and prodding, it gently kind of starts to come out a little bit. As you can see, it just pulls right out. Now, noting that the 2 on top, 1 on the bottom, exactly the same as the new switch. So really, all you have to do now is pull this little red tab back. You don't want to force it when you pull it back. I'll do it one more time. Just like that. And then with a little bit of wiggling, this should come out. So there you go. You kind of really don't want to let this guy go, so I'm going to kind of hold on to it as I grab the new switch, put the new switch in, connect the wire, push this forward. As you can see, the little tabs now down now, and go ahead and push it back in. And there you have your new fog light switch cleanly installed. Now, of course, the next step is to remove all these trim pieces right here. This one right here can be a pain sometimes, so you kind of want to really be nice with this. It's not supposed to be pulled completely out of the trim panel. As you can see, it just kind of pulls forward and stops. It seats itself, so you don't really want to mess with putting that thing back in. Let's go ahead and pull off these other trim clips. Taking care to try not to damage anything. Now, these little guys can be very delicate, and yeah, they are pretty cheap if you can find them in the right place. It's really just one more thing that you really don't want to go out and buy. You know, it just adds more time to the whole process, so you kind of want to be as finesse and nice to them as possible. I'm actually having to use both the smaller one to get underneath it and kind of pry it out a little bit, and the bigger one to finish the job. Now, here's the part that can be the tricky part. As you can see, that's where turn my brightness down, that's where one of the fog lights goes in, the right side fog light, right there in the middle of your screen. And if you look closely enough, you can kind of see where the screws go into it, just the right way. So I'm going to start working on that. And if you look right there to the right, it looks like there is the connector. Now, you guys can't really see it. Right there, I believe it's that brown one right there. That's the connector for the fog lights. Good thing about these cars, the SE and the SXT are pre-wired for the fog lights. It's great that Dodge did that. Of course, a lot of manufacturers do that anyway, so let's go ahead and get to it. Now, I will note that one thing that is kind of tricky is on this side, you have to get in here with this hand and lift up on these little clips here. The big one's right here. The smaller one that's on the bottom looks exactly the same except it's smaller. Now what you have to do is get under the bottom one with your fingers and push it up. You can't hurt it, it's kind of rubberized. So go ahead and push it up. And then on the front, you kind of have to almost pull the bottom very carefully. You don't really want to break it if you plan on reselling these or keeping them for future use or whatever reason. So if you want to save these things, it's just an extra step you can go to ensure that you don't break them. So you almost have to, once you get that one up on this side in here, kind of push it with your other two fingers, and hopefully you can get it out okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the top, and then we'll get to it. And there you have the fog light cover. And as you can see what I was talking about here, that's got these two clips that go in. And you kind of just want to push them up on the bottom, and then you do the kind of the same thing on the top, it'll just fall out. Well, it won't fall out, you'll have to give it a little bit of help, but it should come out just fine if you're just patient with it. As you can see, my flashlight in there. So let's go ahead and pop the new fog light in. Is the screw that holds on the lens does go in on the top. It doesn't go in on the sides, it just goes in on the top. Now one thing you can do to make this job a whole lot easier on yourself is, as you can see, these are self-tapping screws. Now what you want to do is go ahead and start screwing them in to the plastic of the fog light and go ahead and go from there. This will pre-start everything for you, so once you get it installed, it's going to be a lot easier than trying to screw these things in when they're already in the car. Now as you can see, I got them started. That'll make my job a whole lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the two screws out, install the fog light, and screw it in, and then connect it. And then we'll get on to the other side. On each corner, it has its own little clips. So go ahead and put the light in like so. Might have to mess around with it a little bit. And just push it in. And it's installed. Now one thing that should be worth noting, it is a little hard to get under there with the proper sized screwdriver that I have. It's a little too long, so I resorted to a trick that I use at work all the time, and that's with these little thumb screwdriver. And as you can see, the proper size star bit. The camera won't focus quick enough. Go ahead and put that on the end of your ratchet, and it works fine. The screws are in. You want to take care not to screw them in too tight, because remember, you're working with plastic. Things can crack, things can break. So just kind of have a little bit of finesse with it, and everything should go smoothly. The connector is connected. Everything's set up tight, so I'm going to go ahead, pop all the trim bits in here back in place, and go ahead and get on with the other side. Be back when we're done. They're all installed. It's a little off center there, but that's alright. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. But anyways, there you have, everything looks good. Now you just got to take it to Dodge to get everything activated. And they do have to activate it with STARSCAN. So I hope all you guys enjoyed this video. You all stay classy.